All right, let's talk power rankings. Why don't we? Let's talk about the top 32 teams in football. Who do I think will, has the best chance to win the Super Bowl? You know how power rankings work. Let's just get into it. We're gonna go four at a time, and I also have my record predictions in the mix here. I already made a. I'm not sure which one's gonna be out first. I already made a tier list of all these teams as well. I think sometimes a tier list, is more interesting because sometimes like there's a big gap between like say like number 8 and 7 or something like that, and sometimes there isn't a big gap between those. So they tell you different things of power ranking in a tier list, which is why I decided to make them both. And we're still in the off season, got to come up with content, but yeah, bottom four on the list. The Texans and Cardinals, both teams that their first round pick belongs to the Cardinals, so Cardinals got to feel pretty good about this. I'm interested in seeing how both those quarterbacks play next year, which that is the most difficult part. But there's definitely some concerns as well. Obviously, basically the rest of the teams for most of them, they have talent, but just not consistently. The Rams are interesting because they definitely have talent. I mean, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Matt Stafford are great, but some secondary concerns, some secondary receiver concerns, some offensive line issues. The Rams are just a team that, to me, this is a rebuild year for Los Angeles, and the Bears I also have in the mix here at 6-11. Although you'll see same record as a couple teams I have ahead of them. I should mention, if it's the same record, I did pick who I think is better, even though I gave them the same record. So it still is a power rankings there. It's not like, random the record wise. I just think the defense is going to be a mess. I think the offense could actually be pretty good, which is why I do have them at least winning 6 games. But I think this defense on paper looks really rough in my opinion. Next four are the teams that, there's things to like about these football teams. The Indianapolis Colts are at number 28. I do like Anthony Richardson. I don't know if he'll be great right away, though. I like a couple of receivers, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce. I'm interested in their front seven. I do think they have some concerns secondary wise. So I think this is a team that kind of it needs to see where they're at. They need a year to just kind of see which players that have on the roster are still good. All those offensive linemen who had bad years last year, I don't think that'll happen again, but we'll see. Number 27, the Falcons are a team that are, just in an odd spot. I still don't love their defense. I think their offense could be good if Bijan Robinson is the guy they hope he is. But if he's not, this could be a mess, really. We'll see what we get out of Desmond Ridder. I'm not expecting a ton. He was a third round pick for a reason. I did like him a little bit coming out of college, though. So maybe there's some potential there to at least be like a Ryan Tannehill type. Number 26, the Panthers, is very similar to Atlanta. Things to like, but just some real holes as well. I like Bryce Young. Not a lot of talent around him offensively, though. Defense could be solid, but I still would like them to have another corner or two for me to feel really good about them. Number 25, the Raiders. I think the offense could actually be good. That's why I'm giving them an extra win than the other teams I mentioned. But I still think this defense, it just looks rough, to be honest. So while the offense could be great, they're going to have to outscore a lot of their problems. And I just don't know if they have the ability to do that. I don't know if their offense will be top 5 in football or anything like that. Next four on the list, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We actually have a division winner on this list, despite the fact that we have 4, 7, and 10 teams. These teams and the Raiders all I have projected for the same record. Tampa Bay, there's things to like. Obviously, Godwin and Evans are one of the better duos in football, wide receiver duos. This offensive line can be really tough, especially with Jensen now being out for the year. I don't think they'll run the ball well, and I think they're going to run the ball often, given what we saw last year when they took the ball out of Tom Brady's hands as much as they could in the first half and then went down and then had no choice but to make Brady throw every single pass in the second half. Every game is basically what would happen. You had, a good defense last year, should still be a good defense this year, which is why I don't think they're a disaster, but I can't put them higher than 24. The Giants are a team that, again, in many ways could even be better than last year. The issue is I don't think they were very good last year. They were bottom 15 offense and defense last year, still found a way to make the playoffs, primarily due to good coaching, but I don't know how repeatable that is. I like Daniel Jones better than I think most people do, actually. I hate that contract. That's just not a smart decision. But I think he's a fine quarterback. I don't have an issue with him and does some underrated things with his mobility. Saquon's very good, and there is more improvements on the receiving core. If Evan Neal can take a step up, maybe this could be a better offense, but I still don't love the defense on paper. The Saints, another team where it's like, hey, Derek Carr could be pretty good. Coming off his worst year, but he still could be pretty good. I think he'll probably be the best quarterback in that division this year, I would assume. I still would like them to have maybe some more receiving talent. I like Olave, but what are we getting out of Michael Thomas at this point? There's some question marks there. I also feel like the defense has it's very hit or miss, and we'll see what happens. But I still think they're the best team in a weak division. 21, the Green Bay Packers. A lot of it comes down to what are we getting out of Jordan Love. I think the defense on paper is good. Granted, it was on paper good last year and didn't work out, but still, there's some hope there with that defense. I also think that I think Christian Watson's very good, although I still would like them to have more secondary receiving talent. Don't love the offensive line, but do have good running backs. So, yeah, that's that team. Next group, we have the Balls, also known as the Washington football team, which I actually have tied for a playoff spot despite finishing 20th in the power rankings. We're going to see a lot of AFC teams in the top half of this rankings. But Washington tied with Minnesota. Both of those teams I have, near a wild card spot. I actually kind of like Washington's roster. They need a quarterback. Maybe Sam Howell's that guy. I just don't know. They don't really have a lot of flaws in this team, but they also don't really have a lot of massive strengths outside of maybe one or two players, which is why I have them as low as I do. Minnesota here at number 19, who, again, have some strengths. They're kind of the opposite, where they have some really good pieces, maybe the best receiver in football in Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins, obviously very good. The offense, I think, still will be an effective offense. The question is just what are we getting out of this defense? And my guess is probably not much, which is why they're at 19. New England, another team, finishes here at 8-9, according to my projections, who are I think there's things to like about this team. They're still going to have a good defense. They're going to be well coached defensively. We all know that stuff, although Belichick's game management leaves something to be desired. And if Mac Jones can become rookie Mac Jones again, this could at least be a competent offense, but there still are some issues. So kind of middle ground is where I have this team. And I still don't love their receiving core, although they have a lot of role players, but it could use like a number one guy. Number 17, I have the Cleveland Browns, who, Nick Chubb's awesome. Offensive line is awesome. Amari Cooper is awesome, although I would like them to have more receiving talent. What are we getting out of Deshaun Watson? He's such a wild card that if he hits, this could be way better than 9 wins. But if he sucks again, this could be way worse than 9 wins. I want to see that defense play better. I had a disappointing last season, but typically, on paper, should be pretty good. So we'll see what they do. Next 4, I have Denver at 9-8. And some people said like Denver, that's a bit too high on Denver, but I do think we need to consider the possibility that Russell Wilson could be back. The reality is them winning 9 games almost feels like it's definitely not going to happen. It's either going to be more or less than that, and probably significantly more or significantly less. If Wilson's good, though, this could be an elite defense with, I think, an overrated receiving core, but still a fine receiving core, a great quarterback, and a good running game. Should have a good offensive line. So things to like. And Tennessee at number 15, I do think people are sleeping on the Titans a little bit. I still don't have them in a playoff spot, but they're going to run the ball well. They have Ryan Tannehill who can make plays. They added DeAndre Hopkins. They should have a good defense. The Titans are the Titans, and they're going to be well coached. You can't sleep on Tennessee. You just can't. Number 14, kind of, can't sleep on Mike Tomlin either. I like Kenny Pickett. I want to see what he can do in year 2. I thought he had a really impressive rookie year. I want to see what Pickens can do. Can he take that next step from being a good number 2 to a good number 1? We'll see. Defense should still be solid. Obviously, they're going to rush the passer very well. They're going to, be very well coached. But there still are a few issues as well with this team, which is why I can't put them too high. And number 13, Jacksonville, kind of the same thing. I hate this offensive line. I think it's a bad offensive line, and that's going to hurt them. They have a good receiving core. I'm interested in seeing what Lawrence can do here. I've kind of been like a Lawrence hater this offseason just because I think the hype has gotten a little out of control. He was good last year, but he wasn't elite last year. Maybe he'll become an elite quarterback, but maybe he won't also. Both are possible. Defense should have a good secondary. We'll see if Trayvon Walker develops, but I think they're a good team. I have them as I have them winning the division, but I don't know if I have them too much higher than that. Number 12 on this list, the Detroit Lions. We have a few NFC teams on this section, but we're not going to have too many in the top 8. But the Lions here are a team that I have winning the division. I do think another team that kind of hype has gotten a little out of control. I'm lower on Goff than a lot of other people are. I think that he's a fine quarterback, but to me, like a tier 3 caliber quarterback, similar to like a Ryan Tannehill type, in my opinion. Which some Lions fans do feel like he's a lot better than that. I don't fully agree. That's just how we view things. But he is very good at running an offense when things are going well, which is what he did last year. The question is, will that coaching still work this year, or will there be a bit of getting figured out this season? I'm going to guess it's still going to work. I think the offense will still be very good. And I do think that the defense should be much improved. On paper, it could actively be good, but we've seen time and time again, offenses on paper look great, but then when you put them all together, doesn't look as good. Number 12, or excuse me, number 11, Chargers. Again, concerns about the defense for sure. They still won't be able to stop the run. We know they won't be able to stop the run. They don't try to stop the run, but the offense could be awesome. Justin Herbert with 3 potential great receivers could be electric to watch, and we'll see how well that works out. The Cowboys at number 10, a team that, again, on paper could be better than 11-6. I could see a scenario where this defense looks great if Gilmore is still Stephon Gilmore, with him opposite Trayvon Diggs. That could be electric, with Micah Parsons rushing off the edge and plenty of other talented players in that defense. The offense, I still think there is a ceiling on a Dak Prescott-led offense, but that ceiling is still relatively high. You should have, if Brandon Cooks is Brandon Cooks, that could be really good. CeeDee Lamb could be really good. Tony Pollard is a quality starting running back, so should be good offensively, should be great defensively. But how good can they get to be better than just a playoff team and try to turn into a contender remains to be seen. Seattle, another team that I feel like has, they're at number 9. I feel like they're a team that has potential to be a championship caliber team if everything hits, but that's a lot of things that have to hit. Will Witherspoon come in and be an elite corner right away? Probably not, but if he does, that would be great. Will Jackson Smith-Njigba come in and be an elite receiver right away? Probably not, but it'll probably be good, and it'll probably help out their offense, which could be great with 3 potential good receivers in that scenario. And if Abraham Lucas takes the next step and Charles Cross takes the next step at the tackle position, it could be a borderline elite offense with a good defense. And I'll take the elite offense and good defense over elite defense and good offense in 2023. Next, 4 here, 8 through 5. It's only one NFC team. There's actually only 2 NFC teams in the top 8, 6 AFC teams I have going 12-5 or better. Starting off with the Jets, who I have some nitpicks for this roster. I would like them to have more secondary receiving help. I think there's some offensive line issues, a little offensive line concerns is maybe the better word to use. Defense should be awesome. Aaron Rodgers should be awesome. Garrett Wilson should be awesome, and the running game should be awesome. So 12-5 there. The Bills, again, Josh Allen, I think is great. Stephon Diggs, I think is great. Gabe Davis, I think is solid. I still would like them to have more help outside, help out Diggs and Allen. I think that would be better. Defense could be good. A lot of it comes down to Tre'Davious White and just what are we going to get out of him this year? Can we see elite Tre'Davious White back? If we do, I think this team could be a lot higher, but for now, I'm putting them at 7. Cincinnati also have a corner question. Cam Taylor-Britt, gonna expect a lot from him this year. Is he going to be a good outside corner? Remains to be seen. If not, it could be a below average defense. That's possible, I think. If he's good, though, it could be an above average defense, and it's going to be a great offense. So they're here at 6. And number 5, San Francisco. We all know San Francisco. I think they have some underrated corner issues that's getting a little bit overlooked. I think that's concerning for me. I also feel like, we are relying on Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft, to continue playing well. Like, there is a chance that fails, but, definitely plenty of reason to be optimistic. I have them at 5. And then top 4, starting off with the Baltimore Ravens here in the number 4 spot, who, I have them here at 4. This might be a hot take. I think the Ravens are a very good football team, and I do have them as the 3rd best team in the AFC. I think this adding the receivers, it's a very interesting experiment because we're going to see finally. I've been saying for years that I do not believe that the issues that get thrown on Lamar Jackson are Lamar Jackson issues. I think they were Ravens offense issues. The reason why when you force him to throw, it hasn't gone as well is less because he can't throw and more because he has no one to throw to. Now he has guys to throw to. This offense could be elite. This defense, there's some secondary issues, but it's the Ravens. They figure it out, and they're not massive issues, in my opinion. So, number 4 here for Baltimore. Number 3, the only NFC team to make the top 4. I am going Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is really good. I think that they have a loaded roster. Yes, they lost some players, but I think they kept the guys they needed to. Secondary's intact. Defensive line is mostly intact, and the linebacking core is not, but you can work with that. Offense still should be awesome. So 13-4 there. And then the 14-3 teams. I went back and forth on the Dolphins and Chiefs, but I picked I did pick the Dolphins to go to the Super Bowl, so I'll give them the 1 spot here, and the Chiefs the 2 spot. The Chiefs, obviously, they have Mahomes. He's amazing. They deserve to be, they probably deserve to be number 1, but that's not as fun. Let's be honest. But they're obviously going to be a real contender. I do think, though, we still have to look at the roster and look at what happened the offseason. We can't just say they're the Chiefs, they're number 1, end of discussion, let's move on. I have concerns about this tackle situation. Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor. I think Jawan Taylor will probably be fine. I don't think he's worth $20 million a year, but I think he'll probably be a fine right tackle for them. I am really concerned about Donovan Smith. I just am. He's coming off a tough year in Tampa Bay. What are we going to see him do? And are they going to have a situation where Mahomes is running for his life? It's kind of an offense that's predicated on being able to rhythm and throw the ball quickly and be able to beat throw the ball through zones and coverage. If Mahomes has to worry about moving around, he can do it. He's Mahomes. He's amazing, but it just may not be quite as dominant as we've seen in years past. Defense should still be good, though. A lot of young players. They're the Chiefs. They're going to win 14 games. The Dolphins, though, I gave them the number 1 spot because it's fun and because now everyone will get mad at me in the comments and will dislike this video and less people will see it. That's also always important to make sure you do. But the Dolphins, I do think, listen, the Tua health is the biggest concern. But if Tua is healthy, which as of right now he is, you have a potential elite offense. I mean, this offense was as good as any offense in football last year. But the difference is the Vic Fangio addition, the Jalen Ramsey addition. I'm expecting Xavier Howard to have a bounce back year. I'm expecting this defense to be potentially a top 5 defense in football this year. And when you add a top 5 offense and top 5 defense, to me, I think they deserve to be the 1 seed. On paper, they're the most talented team in football. Plenty of teams on paper are the most talented team in football and don't win the Super Bowl, but that's where I'm going. What do you think of this power rankings? Let me know in the comments below. Why am I stupid? Why was I way too low on your favorite team? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.